All right, Nick, let's talk about the Oregon Ducks, undeniably the best team in football right now. This is a team who has been cruising to a spot. They get a first round bye in the college football playoff. Now they're aiming for their matchup against Ohio State. And what do they have? They have a secret weapon on deck that is going to allow them to wreak havoc on the backfield of Ohio State. Guy wasn't there last time. He's there this time, and I think it's going to be a major upgrade for the Ducks. Before we get into all of that, I'm Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, the Ducks this time around are going to have a little surprise for Ohio State, something they have not seen before, and that is none other than pass rusher Jordan Burch. It's going to be ready to be unleashed on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Let's get into the article and we can talk more about it on the other side. This is from Oregon Live. It says, by far the biggest difference for Oregon in its rematch with Ohio State will be the presence of Jordan Burch. The Ducks star defensive end suffered a meniscus injury during practice 2 days before the October 12th win over the Buckeyes. He later sprained his ankle against Maryland and missed the game at Wisconsin. Burch, who has 30 tackles, 11 for loss, and 8.5 sacks, 6 pass breakups, and 1 forced fumble in 9 games, is back, and he could be a pivotal player in the Rose Bowl. God doesn't make a lot of people that look like Jordan Burch, or Oregon coach Dan Lanning said. When people see him, they're surprised to hear that he's really 300 pounds because he looks really good at his size, but he plays like a beast on the field, relentless effort, and the fact that we have great depth and several guys that can play the edge position for us, it allows us to make sure that when he's on the field, he's fresh, and a fresh Jordan Burch is really dangerous. And man, that is absolutely true, Nick. Jordan Burch is a monster when he's on the field. As I said, he got all those stats in just 9 games, Very impressive for him. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one. But before we get to you, Nick, Ducks fans, in the comment section below, matchup versus Ohio State. I think it's going to be a good game. I think you're going to come in firing probably another win for the Ducks. But before we get too far, get too ahead of ourselves, let us know, what are your thoughts on the final score of this one? Is it going to be another win for the Ducks? Is it going to be a tight game? Could they potentially lose? Let us know what your final scores are in the comment section below. But nonetheless, Nick, what do you think about this secret weapon for the Ducks?
Yeah, we hear about it all the time in professional in the NFL. It's true in college now, especially with the expanded playoff, that it's really hard to beat a good team multiple times in a season, right? Obviously, Oregon got it done, beating Ohio State in a heck of a game earlier this year. The challenge and why a lot of people think Ohio State may beat Oregon this time is that, well, that whole dynamic, it's hard to beat a good team twice, right? The reason for that is because there's familiarity there. Teams know each other's strategies and schemes. And if you won the game the first time, the temptation is not to change too much in terms of game plan and strategy. And if you lost the game, now here's your chance to counter that game plan and strategy that beat you the first time. But here's where this whole wrinkle and that whole thought completely blows away, is that Ohio State didn't have to deal with this kid. They didn't have to deal with Burch. And obviously, that's a huge part of their game plan. The Oregon Ducks game plan and strategy is having a game wrecker like Burch that makes quarterbacks and offenses completely have to change what they're doing. And if there's one thing about this Ohio State offense, it is 100%. I call it a vibes offense. When they're feeling good and flowing in rhythm, they're great. But when it goes bad, it goes really, really bad. I mean, look at some of the scores they've had over the course of the season. This is just their offensive output. 52, 56, 49, 38, 35, 31. Things are good. And then you go into some bad. 21, 20. Kind of rough there. Then you go, vibes are good. 45, 31, 38, and then vibes go bad. They only score 10 points against Michigan, a rivalry game at home to finish out the season. They are a vibes offense. They're 100% rhythm, timing. If everything is going great, it's a tidal wave. But when things go bad, when rhythm gets a little off, Howard feels a little bit of pressure. He's uncomfortable. They get in some long yardage situations. It goes bad, and it goes bad really, 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 really bad. It's like what happened against Michigan was unbelievable to watch. And I think that's very similar to what we're going to see when this matchup, Ohio State versus Oregon here. I think Burch is a game wrecker. I think Howard's going to feel some pressure early, and that's just going to throw off the entire timing of the Buckeyes offense. And if that happens with how good Oregon's offense is, I think this game becomes a tidal wave the other way. I think this is a game that will start 7-3, then become maybe 14-3, then maybe 24-10. And then before long, this game will tidal wave into maybe a 45-24 kind of final. Just because, and I don't even know if Ohio State will score that much, to be honest. I'm giving them a lot of credit here, just because I don't think they have an answer for Burch, right? They're going to try and counter what the Oregon Ducks' game plan was from the earlier matchup, but they have no idea what to expect from Jordan Burch. And the answer is they won't have a response. Jordan Burch, I think, will wreck their offensive line, will wreck their game plan. The vibes will be off, and Ohio State will lose. I think this is a great sign for Oregon. They're about to unleash this weapon, and the Buckeyes will have no answer. I think Oregon wins and just a runaway here.
Yeah, Nick, and I think what we've seen from Burch really, they talk about him being banged up in the first part of the season, being able to work his way back. If you look at the last 4 games of this regular season Big Ten championship withstanding, Burch has been on fire. He has had 6 sacks in the last 4 games of the season. And you talk about the limited snaps he's got, 9 games this year. He's gotten 30 total pressures in that time. You talk about unleashing this guy on Will Howard, making him feel a little bit uncomfortable. This is the guy to do it. Burch is an absolute monster when he hits that corner. He really turns up the pressure on a quarterback. And I agree with you. This Ohio State offense, when it's good, when everything is going right, it is really, really good. It is undeniable. It is hard to argue against that one. But when it's bad, things can go out of control quick. As we saw versus Michigan, I would say Michigan's not really one of the best teams that Ohio State has even played this year. Obviously, they beat them the best, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think Michigan all of a sudden turned into some superstar team with 5 Jordan Burches across the defensive line. I think they really just had a game plan. They knew what Ohio State was all about, and they're able to turn up the pressure and really get this offense into a funk. I think that's the case here with Jordan Burch. I think they're going to unleash him early and often. Like they said, spell him, keep him fresh, and just really disrupt this Ohio State offense, which can have them falter big time. So I think it's a great game plan. I think it's a great weapon. I think the point you bring up about not being able to beat a good team twice, well, this isn't the same Oregon team that they saw last time. It has one major upgrade on it. So I think that is the case here. I think they're going to be able to beat Ohio State with the addition of Jordan Burch coming back into this game. It's going to change up their defensive landscape so much.
And one final point to end on. This isn't some aberration when we talk about the Ohio State vibes offense in terms of playoffs dealing with tough situations. This is literally offensive coordinator for Ohio State, Chip Kelly's MO of his career. Exciting offense that puts up a lot of points in some games. But when it comes to tough matchups and against great defensive lines, he crumbles. We saw this Oregon team give up or only score 19 points against the Auburn Tigers a number of years ago when Chip Kelly was leading the Ducks. You guys, Ducks fans, you guys remember that? Again, vibes offense. Things didn't go great. The Auburn defensive line threw them into a funk. They couldn't score enough points to win. We've seen this before from Chip Kelly. Ducks fans, you guys know that better than anybody. I think Burch will repeat history here against this Kelly offense. This time, however, it will be in Oregon's favor. Big win, I think, coming up for Oregon.